it takes a minute for it to catch up because I got all the software loading up and whatnot. But yeah,
No problem.
just want to start early, man. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Uh, like I said, my friend, he asked me a couple years ago, um, would you move down here to Chicago? I said no, no. I'm like, I live in Milwaukee. It's cold enough up here.
Right.
Why should
Right.
I go to Chicago where it's freaking colder? Like, no, I'm cool.
You born and raised in Milwaukee?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I was, and I spent I spent a few years in the Marines. So my duty station was North Carolina,
Okay.
Camp
Thank you for
Lejeune.
serving.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Semper Fi.
Oh yeah, yeah. Simple Fire, bro. Yeah, that's right. I'm impressed.
Yeah, and you know what? I came this close to being a Marine.
Really?
I thought I was going to be a Marine. Like you could because um well okay, I'll be brief. So I was in my about to start my I finished my first 2 years of college and I ran out of money because I had to have because my mother didn't I didn't grow up with money. So it looked like I wasn't going to be able to get any grants
Mm-hmm.
for a third year in college. And I didn't know what else to do. So I was like, I guess I'm gonna join the Marines. I went and spoke to a recruiter and everything. And that summer, I was getting in shape for boot camp.
Mm.
And then when I had a summer job where I had to take a shortcut in downtown Chicago through this building, which was it was a college, but it was a liberal arts college. So they did radio and TV, and I would take a shortcut to go through there for lunch every day, and I'd be like, this seems like a really interesting school. I think this school is what I'm interested in. And then I said, but school's about to start in 4 weeks. I don't have enough time to apply, do the transcripts, get financial aid. But I said,
Yeah.
if I'm able, I said, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. And if I get all that done in 3 weeks, I'll go here instead of joining the Marines. And I
Mm.
got financial aid and got in 3 weeks. And I was like, I guess I'm going to this school. Like
I'm going to school.
I was going to let that decide my path.
Yeah, yeah,
And there
yeah.
you have it.
And there you have it. And the rest is history.
Then it's just somebody's history.
It's yours, brother. It's yours.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, my brother. Let's get this thing going. Welcome everybody to the Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. I am your host, Mark Ross, and with me this evening is psychotherapist, adjunct professor, best-selling author, and a speaker, Mr. Frank James. Please welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me. And I appreciate you allowing me to be on Speak Your Truth podcast, Mark.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. Well, we were talking about you growing up in Chicago and going to the Marines and whatnot, but
What thinking about going to the Marines?
thinking about going to the Marines,
Coming
right,
close, coming this
right,
close.
right, coming close, and going to school instead. Now, before we talk about your profession as a psychotherapist,
Mhm.
you had another profession
Yes.
prior to that. So
Actually,
you were in TV and radio.
TV and
This is what we're
radio.
talking.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
talk about what life was like being in the radio TV form.
Okay. Well, it's interesting because there's a path. It was radio, then it was like a radio TV, and then it was television. So I'll try to be brief here. So
Sure.
originally, so of course I went to school. My undergrad was communication, specifically majoring in radio. When I graduated, I luckily got an internship at the top radio station in Chicago, which was WGCI Radio. Um, and so I got an internship there. I was interning sales. And from there, I started working in the marketing promotions department as an intern. Then I got paid, and I just never left. And so I was working in marketing promotions. And at some point, I got the opportunity to go on air. And at the time, it was when rap music was getting really popular. It
The
was,
90s.
there you go, the 90s. We're talking Heavy D and the Boys,
Yeah.
Public Enemy, Big
Yeah.
Daddy Kane,
Yeah.
Ice-T, KRS-One. And so, because I had also got some experience working in the programming department, they were like, okay, Frank, you're going to program the show for this other guy. Because it was two of us that we auditioned to host this rap hip hop show. but the other guy was more, he had a more street vibe, so he got the show. Okay,
Mm.
fine. But they were like, you know what, Frank, you know how to program music, so you program it and you be his backup if he can't do the show. Over time, there was a few instances in which he couldn't do the show. Ultimately, I got to fill in, and when I filled in, they decided, you know what, Frank, we think we like you doing the show.
Mm.
And then they gave him another show. So actually, the show was called Rap Down, side A and B side. One show was on Friday nights, the other one was Saturday nights. And I did that show for more than 5 years. But the show was so popular because wherever you went in Chicago on a Friday or Saturday night, you can with White Castle, a pizza parlor, you were hearing the show. And I decided, me and my co-host were like, this would be great if we can get this on TV because we had so much fun in the studio doing it.
I
And
bet.
I literally created a proposal. I shot a pilot and shopped it around. And ultimately, the NBC affiliate in Chicago, they agreed to run our show late night. So for 2 seasons, I co-hosted a show called Kicking It, where we had music videos, and we did it in front of the studio audience, unless we
Nice.
did a show on location.
Yeah.
And yeah, 2.5 seasons, we had that show.
Did you have that high
Um,
top fade back then?
I If I could show you a picture, I promise you, I had a high top fade, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
somebody on, when you get a moment on YouTube, somebody posted a snippets of the show. It's called Kicking It, and it was like, I think if you type in Frankie J, Disco Dave, and Kicking It,
Uh-huh.
you'll see an edited version of one of our studio shows. I didn't post it; somebody else posted it.
Well,
Um,
is it on YouTube or
yeah, it's on YouTube.
okay? I'm gonna look that
Yeah,
up.
it's on YouTube. And so I did that for a while. Ultimately, I transitioned out of the hip hop and just started doing regular R&B, hosting regular R&B shows, and then I decided to go to another market and do my own thing. And I ended up getting a job on Guam, hosting my own morning radio show with a morning team. I know Guam is a very different place
Wow,
to be doing a show, but it was great. It was a great time. Met some really cool people.
that's
Um,
crazy.
and but then when I came back to the States, I don't know, I had no interest in doing radio anymore, just maybe part time. And then I was visiting some friends in LA, and they were like, you should just move here. So, okay. And I moved there, and then I started working behind the scenes in television exclusively. I was no longer doing radio. I worked on, let's see, Keenan Ivory Wayans was one of the first shows I worked. Keenan Ivory Wayans actually had a late night talk show that didn't last. It didn't even do a full season. So I
Really?
worked on, nope, yep. And then I worked on, I remember I did a quick stint on Shop Till You Drop. I worked on a show. The bigger shows I worked on Family Feud when it was recorded in LA, and Divorce Court.
Mm.
And so while I was working on those shows, and I did different things on different shows. Family Feud, I was contestant coordinator. I helped audition the families for the show. Um, Divorce Court, I was an associate producer to help get the couples on the show. Um, I worked. Howie Mandel used to have a daytime talk show. Howie Mandel, he's one of the
Yeah.
judges for America's Got Talent.
Right.
For
Right.
1 year, he had a daytime talk show.
Yes, I
I
remember that.
worked on his show. And for the second half of that season, I became the show's announcer. So I got to do live from Studio One in Burbank, California. It's the Howie Man. Today he welcomes guests. So I got to do that for a while. And
Nice.
but the last show I worked on was Divorce Court. It happened to be the season when we were attacked during 9/11,
Mm.
and we couldn't book guests anymore. We couldn't fly them out because nobody remember first the planes got shut down. Nobody, and then it was a while before planes were allowed to fly.
Mm.
And then when they were allowed to fly, people were scared to get on planes. So we couldn't fly guests out to Burbank, California to even be on Divorce Court. And so they let go of all the associate producers. And at that point, I decided to enroll in grad school to be a therapist, something that I had already thought about doing anyway.
Okay.
And so I went to grad school and let go of entertainment altogether.
Wow. So, what were some life lessons you learned during that time in radio and television, Frank?
Wow. I feel like I learned different lessons from both radio and television.
Mm, mm,
So it's interesting in radio, in a radio people, when you're on air, you're really kind of like a local celebrity. Like you're a celebrity that they can access. Um, and and they feel connected to you because when you're in radio, they hear you every weekend or every week or every day, and they feel like they know you. So you can go to an appearance and they're happy to meet you. Hey, it's so good to put a voice to the face or a face to the voice. So it's just basically both in radio and television, like with any other profession, it's really about relationships. That's
yeah,
really it's about relationships. I used to hear this saying, I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's not what you know, but who you know.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's in entertainment, it's not what you know, it's who likes you. That's what it is in entertainment because
Mm-hmm.
most of my jobs in television when I was in LA, most of those positions that I received is because I knew somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Because I worked once I got my foot in the door, somebody would say, "Hey Frank, hey, I'm over here at Family Feud. You interested in coming over?" Okay, because they clearly liked me or they liked my work ethic or my personality. So that's the one thing I will say in entertainment. As far as if you want to advance, it's who likes you is probably even more important than your talent.
Wow. So you can have somebody, you know, doing some high profile stuff and dumb as a box of rocks, but if you have a likable personality, then
Or if the right person likes you,
the
like in radio, if the program director or the station manager likes this person
mm,
and they want to take this person and mold and shape them into a local radio star, they will do that.
mm,
Even though they're not, you and others may not think they're the most talented, but when you get the right person behind you.
mm, there you go.
So and I mean, if you look at other industries too, whether it's music or singers, I'm
Mm,
sure there's some people, let's be honest, there's some people who've made hit records who are not that great a singer.
mm. My wife and I
Let's be
just had this
honest.
conversation. My wife and I just had this conversation yesterday, and she mentioned a few names, like, hey, they're not good, they're not good singers. You know, they're cute and all, they're good, uh, they're good entertainers,
There's entertainers. Yep.
but they're not good singers.
Nope. Nope. They're average at best. I mean,
At
there was a
best.
time, but there was some back in the day, there were some pretty strong vocalists
Mm-hmm.
who could really sing. And
Really.
I mean, even if you look at, if let's just take Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. I don't think there's many people currently who could touch those two ladies right there.
None of them. None of what we have out here. None. They're unicorns.
Yep, yep. So, and that was just
Unicorn.
two. There were other talented singers too. I didn't even talk about Anita Baker. Like I
Yeah,
could go
yeah,
through a list,
absolutely,
but no.
absolutely. But the the
So,
the, the performance we have now, no. Are they good? Some of them are, but are they on that level? Absolutely not.
no,
Absolutely not.
no, no.
Shut the door.
Yeah, I could say more, but I don't want to
Right, right,
insult.
right.
I don't want to insult anybody who may be a fan of some of today's hottest singers.
Yeah, yeah. That's all right. I'll say it. They ain't all that great. They ain't all that good. No, no. Man, come on. I mean, what we were what we were blessed to hear back in the day, as you say, compared
Right.
to now, it's apples and oranges.
It's so apples and oranges, but not only having worked in radio, not only did you have strong soloists, you had groups. You had female groups, male groups, hip hop groups. Today's generation, they don't have any of there's no current rap groups. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have male groups, they don't have female. They don't have an In Vogue, for example.
Right.
They don't have, I don't know, a rap group. They don't have, I mean, they don't even have a Wu-Tang. They don't have Boogie Down Productions. They don't
Don't
have a
have a
Poor
Tribe
Righteous
Called Quest.
Teachers.
Don't
They
got
don't
none of
have a Tribe Called Quest. They don't
that.
have
No,
groups. They don't even
no.
have Backstreet Boys, In Sync.
Insane. 98
They
degrees. I mean,
they
come
don't Boys to
on.
Men. They don't have any of that.
No,
So
no.
it's just I don't even understand why they don't have groups anymore. But it's so like the diversity of their music doesn't compare to previous generations.
Okay. And
So
you mentioned earlier that you were always interested in getting into the counseling field. So
right.
now that you got into it, what what is your job description as a psychotherapist?
So I am a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I do individual, I do couples, I do family therapy. I work with young people. I used to work with kids as young as 5, 6 years old, doing probably different forms of play therapy. Right currently, I work with older kids. I usually start around 12, um, and I've been doing this for more than 20 years now. And I try to help with whatever personal challenge an individual, a couple, or a family is dealing with.
Mm,
Um, Everything from depression, anxiety, ADHD, a couple struggling with their marriage, um, depression, grief and loss,
mm.
whatever they bring in, I try to do the best I can to serve and help.
Okay, great. That sounds great. I appreciate the work that you do. In your years of practice, what demographic was most challenging for you to work with?
Ooh, what demographics?
Yeah, in terms of couples, individuals, younger, older, what what subsection of your work did you have most trouble uh, working with?
Well, I enjoy doing couples therapy. I even have a premarital course. Couples therapy offers a challenge that's very different because you have two individuals that are in the room with you, two different personalities, two different histories, and you're trying to show equal respect for both, trying to understand the perspective of both, and then help them work through, resolve, or grow through whatever their issue is. That's very challenging. There are a lot of therapists. I used to work with some therapists who would say, "No, I don't do couples because you're juggling these two personalities
Mm,
and you're
hmm.
trying to do this in 50 to 55 minutes."
Yeah, yeah.
So, but I actually enjoy the challenge of navigating these two energies, these two individuals. So I enjoy, so it's not like it's difficult. I mean, it becomes difficult if one person is not willing to change, or if one person doesn't want to be there in the room, or it becomes challenging if there's one person who has significant anger issues. That becomes challenging. Um, Now, but for me, I would say as much, and my first 10 years as a therapist, I worked with a lot of children. Um, and I enjoyed working with them. But for me, they can be challenging
Hmm.
as well. But probably, let me see, a teenager that doesn't want to be in therapy is probably the most challenging person to deal with
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I work really hard with trying to build rapport with my clients and definitely with my teams because once I can get them to trust me, once I can connect with a teenager, I got him or
Mm.
her. And then we can address why they're in treatment in the first place. But a teenager that doesn't want to be there can be very challenging.
I can, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
with a 9-year-old, if you just interact in a playful way and make them feel comfortable, they're fine. But teenagers tend to have a lot more distrust.
Mm, mm,
And I think that's probably the difference. Adults are coming because they have an issue they want to address.
hmm, hmm.
Children just need the connection. But the teenagers, they're suspect. They're not trusting. They're slow to trust typically.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
not always though. I mean, I've had teens who wanted to come to therapy.
Really?
Yes, I've had parents tell me my so-and-so, my daughter, my son actually said they wanted somebody to talk to. They wanted to come to therapy. And I said, you know what? If a young person, I mentioned it in my book. If a young person verbally says they want to
Mm,
go in therapy,
yeah,
you should really try to follow through and make that happen for them.
absolutely. Because and I was surprised when you said that because excuse me, you don't hear that a lot.
I can safely tell you I have had multiple parents tell me their child wanted therapy, which is kind of scary because that means that adolescent knows they're struggling and they want somebody else beside their parents to help.
Yes, yes. That's a all call for help.
Yes, that's when a teenager is willing to ask for help. Now, any teen
Yes,
asking for any type of help, please address that
absolutely,
call.
absolutely. Uh, I got a question here from the chat.
Okay.
And actually, it's two questions. The first
Okay.
question is, what is the hardest part of being a mental health professional?
Okay. First, I'm going to say the most annoying part of being a mental health therapist is dealing with insurance companies
Hmm.
and the documentation that you have to stay on top of. Because every session you have to be done. I'm not a big paperwork guy. I don't have the strongest organizational skills. So that is the most annoying part, the insurance companies and the documentation for me. Now, the hardest part about being a therapist is literally just hearing some of the unfortunate situations and traumas that people are in. That's
Hmm.
because sometimes you hear a story that you feel their pain and you can't cry with them, you can't say give me a hug, you have
Hmm.
to focus on helping them. And so that's, I mean, I've heard some really sad stories. I mean a lot of stories of abuse, physical, sexual, um, people who found deceased loved ones. I had two clients that I had an adult client who had cancer and she was only in her early 40s. I think
What?
she was like 40 and
Oh,
our last few sessions, our last 3 or 4 sessions were over the phone while she was in a hospital bed and she ultimately passed. I also on the opposite end of the spectrum, I had a little girl who was how old? She was
6 years
probably
old. You told me
she
about the 6 year old. Please go into that. Yeah.
so I've had several young kids. There was one young lady, she had cancer
Hmm.
and she might have been 7 or 8. She had cancer and her hair was falling out and she couldn't go to school. And it's very difficult when a child is asking you, they don't understand why they're going through this. Um, I've worked with a lot of children in foster care. That is, it's very sad to
Yeah. Oh.
be at a I've been at the home when foster care children are being moved from this foster home to another foster home, and they're being given this little black plastic bag to put all their belongings in as they're
Mm.
getting relocated. That's tough. Now, I
Mm.
believe the young girl you were talking about, there was this young lady who the level, wow, I have like just thinking about her, other stories are coming to mind.
Okay. Because I
But
know
this
this one stood out to you because you said that she got attached to you.
Well, several did, but this one particular one, I worked at a day treatment facility where kids came because they had really severe disorders. And so they were brought in every day by a van that picked them up out of school. But this little girl, she was in foster care and she had so much trauma that she was very aggressive toward other adults, other kids. She could barely speak.
Mm.
She sometimes would behave like an animal. As a matter of fact, she had a foster sister that belonged to the foster mother. No, 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 I'm sorry. This was the foster mother had a biological child, and they were about the same age. Sometimes they would play well nicely, but this foster child, because she was so disturbed and had so much trauma, sometimes she would bite this other little girl so severely she would have to be taken to the hospital. And it was difficult for the staff to work with her, because the kids would be in their own groups based upon their age. And I would go to the clinicians would go to the groups, pull the children out, take them for individual therapy, and also do group therapy. She didn't really trust anybody else except me. And so we had a lot of difficulties with transporting her back home at the end of the day. So often it basically the foster mother told me, I'm doing a really brief summary here. The foster mother told me one day, if you can't, if she doesn't get better, basically,
Mm.
if I don't fix her, I might have to return her back to foster care. And because the foster mother couldn't put that much attention into her, because she had other children. And so it was really sad. The last day that I knew I wouldn't be seeing her anymore. And I felt like I let that little girl down. Even though I'd only been a therapist for about 3 or 4 weeks, but I felt like I let her down. And now as a result, she was going to be turned back to foster care.
Do you remember the last conversation you had with that little girl?
Absolutely. I remember because she needed to get on the van that day. She needed to allow our facility to transport her because the foster mother would have to come back, would have to leave her home to come get her. And she's like, I can't keep coming to this place to pick her up. She has to be able to ride the van. If she can't ride the van tonight, that's it. I'm pulling out this program. And they took her out. She'd be on the van attacking staff, biting
Mm.
people. They brought her back. They told the
Mm.
foster mother, you got to come get her. And so this little girl was in my office. And I remember telling her, I was saying her name, and I said, you know what, so and so, we really needed you. I said, we really needed you to, I needed you to be a big girl tonight
Mm.
and stay on the van. And it just hurt. And she was looking at, she was about literally a foot and a half away from me. And she's looking at my eyes and I'm looking at her eyes. And she saw, this is so unique. She saw I was in pain
Mm-hmm.
and she tried to comfort me. Because I'm not gonna, this is the one of the few times I was in a therapy session and I was tearing up
Mm.
because but she that was our last conversation where her trying to comfort me, telling me it's going to be okay.
Man.
And
And
I don't think she realized the ramifications. I don't think she realized not only was she not going to see me anymore, she wasn't going to be in this program anymore, but she was about to lose her foster placement.
right.
I don't think she knew any of that.
But she wanted to comfort you.
She saw I was tearing up and she's reaching out to hug me. So that was so that's the difficult part. Some of the situations that young people have been in, some of the abuses, some of the
Yeah.
traumas. I could tell you some horrific stories about things that have been done to children that your mind would be blown.
Oh my God.
Your
Oh.
mind, you'd be like, there's no way. And I'd be like, yes.
Mm. You know, and not to beleaguer this particular point, but the fact that we're talking about kids and trauma, not just trauma, but serious, repeated trauma and how it affects the psyche of these kids. It's like you said, it's just mind blowing, Frank.
It's what people
Oh,
can do to children
oh,
is I don't understand it. I hate to say this, but I feel some people, and
it's a special place in hell for some people.
there's some people. Everybody shouldn't be a parent. I'm just going to keep it clean like that. There's some
Mm,
people that shouldn't be a parent.
mm, mm. Wow. And the second question is, how do you decompress after counseling others?
I believe, and it's not just mental health clinicians. It probably maybe policemen in major cities as well. People who've seen combat. I believe self-care is so important. And so one so there's two parts. So as far as decompression after a long day of seeing clients, there's a bunch of different things I may do. I love playing chess on my computer, on my phone. So I may play chess. Um, I may look at some stuff on YouTube. Um, I'm a practicing jujitsu. I practice jujitsu, so so that helps. So I may be going to a jujitsu class. And I love music. Having worked in radio as well, I love
Yeah.
music. Those are all. And then of course, like then there are other things that I do as well. But those are some of my main interests that like help me to unwind at the end of a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe it's important to like gear up and prepare yourself in general. Like if you're a professional athlete, you need to be in shape way before the game.
Sure.
You need to be in shape before the season starts.
Sure.
And so I engage in self-care things prior to. So every morning, and I mean every morning, 7 days a week, my day starts with reading some type of book or something to help feed my mind, my spirit.
Mm.
So that's every day. I do yoga every day, and then I meditate every day,
Mm-hmm.
7 days a week.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and to me, that's me gearing up and preparing for whatever may come my way, whether I
Mm.
see clients that day or I'm just teaching that day.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So I think that's important.
It is. It is absolutely. I have another question here for you in the chat. The question is, do you think she did those things? We're talking about the 6-year-old. Do you think she did those things because she wanted to keep coming back to you because you were her safe place or safe space? I'm sorry.
That's really tough because it's tough to know because I'm not sure if she had some type of mental developmental issues or not. She spoke very few words. Like you, I was able to understand what she was trying to say because I was working with her. But there were times people would be asking me, "What did she just say?" Because she needed serious speech therapy as well. So her voice was very garbled, and
Mm.
you just never knew what she was trying to say. Um, but I do know I was someone that she felt safe with. Yes. There was so she would try to bite other staff when they were trying to take her home. That's why they would bring her back. One time I got on the van because you have to stay in your seat. So I got on the van and I sat next to her to keep her still. And she was acting like she wanted to bite me, but she
Mm.
wouldn't bite me. She wouldn't bite me. If I was any other staff, oh, she would have bit them.
Oh, she would. Yeah.
She would have bit them. So
Yeah.
I do know we had a connection. And sometimes there were times she'd be getting restrained by staff because at this facility, the milieu staff, the staff that worked with them as groups, they were trained to restrain people. So there were times this little girl would have to be restrained and always had to be a two-person restraint. She'd be yelling out my name to come get her because she wanted me to save her, but I couldn't because that's undermining why she's being restrained. And I would tell her, so and so, when you calm down, she'd be like, I want to go with Frank. I want to go with Frank.
She would
And
say
this,
that.
she would say that in this garbled voice, tears, snot, saliva. She would, all that's happening while she's screaming out my name. But I couldn't because she's being restrained because she's been inappropriate. And I would tell her, as soon as you calm down, I will
Mm.
come get you. So let's
Mm.
calm down. I would try to help her calm down in a moment and she'd still be screaming. I mean, she had so many issues. There's so much. Wow. She had some serious issues. She had to be monitored even going to the restroom because
That's crazy.
she might do things to herself that
Right.
might even harm herself at that age.
That's crazy.
She would have to be escorted by a female staff into the restroom.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
Wow. You know, I wasn't going to say this, but I am going to talk about uh, a kid that I had to encounter. uh, I spent some time as in security for a hospital, but
Okay.
what my job entailed was to work with the high risk kids, the kids who had developmental, or mental health issues. There was this one kid. He gave everybody hell. He
Except,
gave everybody. Me too.
oh, he gave it to you too.
He
Okay, I
gave-
thought you were the exception to the rule.
Hell no. He
Okay.
he gave everybody, Frank, he gave everybody hell. And he was so unpredictable that we needed to be, well, we were around him all the time. But when, for example, he wanted to go for a walk around the hospital floor, we had to hold this young dude's hand because he's a runner. And I had the misfortune of having to chase this little dude around the wing. And oh my God, it was funny, but it was kind of nerve-wracking because my thought was, what if this kid hits the stairs?
What happens? Yeah.
He gone.
Yeah.
This kid is gone. The kid is gone if he hits the stairwell. It's oh man. But he didn't have the wherewithal to hit the stairs and just take off on me because
Good.
other staff was trying to comfort him to come back. Uh, we were able to catch him. And this kid was so disturbed. Not to mention that he came out drug addicted.
Yeah.
So he had, from what I understand, he came out with drug dependency and severe mental health issues. His speech what was garbled, even though he spoke clear at sometimes, but when he spoke clear when he was angry.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Oftentimes he would speak in a garbled voice and you have to ask him to repeat himself. But when he was angry, which was often, he spoke clear. And the hospital staff didn't know what to do with this kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was a chapter 51, if I'm not mistaken. But the kid was a hellraiser. And as much as he used to piss me off, Frank, I feel bad for the kid because here's a kid that he's innocent because he wasn't asked to be here.
Nope. And he had
He
no
came
control
here,
over what happened to him. He had no
no,
control.
he
Nope.
came here on it. He came here losing out the gate.
Yes.
He was losing.
Yes.
So when I would see this kid in his angry state, as much as I didn't like it, I understood it. I empathized with this kid, even though he was raising all hell, spitting at people, hitting people. I mean, he was squaring off. This kid
How
was
old was he?
squaring off.
How old was he?
He was about 6. At the time, he was like six, a strong 6, maybe 7. Squaring
Wow.
up on, man, hitting. I mean, he was straight up squaring up, bam, hitting staff. Catch he would catch you slipping, boom.
I
He
used
was
to,
one of them type of kids.
I know I just mentioned working at a day treatment facility, but I also worked about a year and a half at what's considered a residential treatment facility for kids. Matter of fact, this was the highest level of care for children with issues. This is where kids go where they're either high risk of hurting themselves or other people in the community. They go here, they go to school here, there's doctors, there's nurses. They may live at this facility for 3 months, a year and a half, and like this is it. There's no other high level of care for children when you're talking about this level, this type of facility. And the abuses, the trauma, the anger, the code blue, code red that'd be called, because If you were not busy, you had to come and help restrain. And these kids were victims of abuse. There were kids, I knew it was a little boy, he was sexually abused by both his parents. Um, there were just so many unfortunate stories with those children. I mean, and you just never knew when you could not work there if you were staff or therapists who interacted directly with these kids, and the kids were ages like 6 to 19, and they were
Mm,
all on different units. There
okay.
is no way you could be a staff member who worked with those kids and at some point not get punched, not get kicked, not and maybe even get spit on.
Mm,
Those things were going to happen to you.
mm,
Period.
period.
Period. I remember once there was a little boy, he was being restrained, and I'm the therapist for the unit. I'm trying to calm him down. He's on his stomach, and I'm like, so and so, just calm down. And then that, because he's yelling at them to let him go, and I was like, I can get them to let you go, but I need you to calm down first, so we know you're not going to hurt anybody. And he spit in my face
Mm,
while I'm talking to him. Now,
mm,
at that
mm,
point, I'm the therapist. I can't respond to that. I just have to wipe my face and continue trying to calm him down because I
mm.
can't let him see that he just affected me because then he wins.
Oh,
So,
oh,
working with that population at
oh,
that facility, of every place I've worked, that was the most challenging place. I've worked at in home therapy, school based therapy, the day treatment facility in California, and this residential facility. That was by far the biggest challenging place I've ever worked
absolutely. I bet it was. And
because of the
here's
severity of the conditions.
sure, sure. Here's a comment that someone mentioned to you concerning the 6-year-old girl. Uh, it says she was probably very frustrated because no one understood her. Talking about the garbled voice.
I will tell you that that is on point. Yes. Yes. No, that was the issue. Yes.
Yeah, and in her mind, she was speaking clearly, but it came out garbage to others, and you took the time to understood her, and she appreciated that. That's probably one of the reasons why she gravitated towards you.
I can guarantee you, I would see her trying to communicate with staff and they would keep asking her, "What are you saying? What do you?" And I could see her getting frustrated.
Mm,
That piece, absolutely.
mm.
Absolutely. And I wasn't around all the time to translate. And even sometimes I had difficulty hearing what she was saying.
Sure, sure.
So yeah,
Yeah. Did
that
you,
definitely played a part.
as a counselor, have you reached out to a counselor to talk to someone yourself? Because counselors need counselors now.
Well, now, yes, I have been in therapy. Now, when I'm working with, when I'm at these facilities, especially day treatment residential, they don't really focus on our health, mental health. We have to do that on our own. But we do have what's referred to as treatment team meetings where all the clinicians come together and maybe discuss challenging situations, challenging clients, challenging kids. And if that staff member is needing some additional support, they're there for us too. So you have other therapists who are supporting other therapists in these type of facilities. So that's there.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Well, let's turn the page for a second, Frank, and
sure.
let's talk about your book,
Oh
Heal
yeah.
and Grow: Lessons Learned on My Journey as a Mental Health Professional. Yes, I see it.
Yes, there it is.
Let's talk about it, Frank.
Yes.
What made you do it?
Well, I always wanted to write a book. I never knew what I would write it about. I didn't know if it was going to be fiction, nonfiction. Never really spent a lot of time, but I just thought it'd be so cool to write a book.
Absolutely.
And one day, I want to say it was, I think we were in the midst of the pandemic. No, I think we were coming out of the pandemic. And I was in the kitchen, and it was very clear. A voice said to me, it's time to write a book. And I said, a book about what? That was my question, answering and the voice, my inner voice or the voice said,
Yeah.
write a book about your experiences being a mental health professional. And I
Mm,
was like, hmm. And from that moment,
Mm-hmm.
I started carrying index cards and note cards, writing down thoughts and ideas that I would want to put into the book. And they just kept coming. They kept coming so much. I'd be walking the dog. I was like, oh, I don't have my note cards. So I just started using my cell phone because there's the notes page, and I just started dictating notes in my phone, and just things that would come to me. You need to do this. You need to say this. You need to focus on this topic. You need to focus on that topic. And I
Right.
just kept putting it all down. And that's how the book was born, just listening to what I would refer to as my inner voice, or my spirit, or God. That's how that came about, because and it just came to me.
Mm. Is the 6-year-old in mentioned in your book?
I don't think so. It's possible. You know what? She might be. I think she is. I think she is. I think she is. So I have to be careful when you're a therapist. You have to make sure you don't. Confidentiality still exists even for kids. You have to make sure there's no identifying information. You can't use names or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I'm not. I feel like she is mentioned because I know the way the book is designed. It's like this, heal and grow, but the subtitle was lessons I learned on my journey as a mental health professional. So I share a lot of my personal thoughts, personal experiences. And so each chapter focuses on something different. So it's lessons I've learned about anxiety and depression,
Yeah.
lessons I've learned about children and adolescents,
Mm.
lessons I've learned about couples, and so on. And so I always put something personal in each one of those chapters. And I think I did make a quick reference about the disappointment of not being able to save that little girl and prevent her from going back into foster care.
Mm-hmm. I have a question here in the chat. Have you ever ran into a past client who has shown improvement and moving in a positive direction?
Absolutely. And now, typically, you don't really run into past clients. Like, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But I had a client who was a severe cutter,
Oh.
a young lady, a teenager. And I mean, just hundreds of cuts on her arms, hundreds,
Mm.
hundreds. I mean, words, everything. And um, I did everything I could to help her, and we had a very strong therapeutic connection. And I can tell you, I know now that she's she doesn't, she has a family, she's married, and I know she doesn't cut anymore.
Really?
Yeah, this was, like I said, I was working with her when she was about 16. I think she's like 30 now, or 30 something. But that's an example of, but it's rare to find out how a client turned out. It's rare. Now, also too, from time to time, I have clients who I used to work with when they were younger, and they come and find me as an adult. I have a session coming up next month. The young man found me. I used to work with him when he was in high school. He's now graduated college. He's in the workforce, and he wants to come back and start seeing me again in therapy. So I haven't had that session with him yet, so I don't know what's been going on with his life. But I did have a brief call with him initially because he was asking about insurance, what insurances I take. So,
Mm.
but that's one example of somebody who clearly their life turned around. And I don't take credit for that. To me, that's about a lot of factors, whether if you believe in God or have faith, that may be a part of it. It's also really also about the individual putting in the work,
Mm. Mm.
changing their thoughts, changing their actions. It's really about them. I don't really take much credit in doing that. I feel like I'm serving the best way I can.
Yeah. As they say, you can walk a person to the door, but they have to open
Exactly. I tell my clients during an initial session, I can't work harder than you do.
it.
Like, and the more work you put forth, the greater the results that you'll see.
Yeah. Bingo.
So,
So you got to do the work.
yep.
Yeah. I have a question for you. If you had
Mhm.
a motivational message for anyone that's dealing with personal problems, marital problems, etc. If you had a message that could help them get through their issues, what would that message be, Frank?
The message would probably be based on the idea behind the serenity prayer. And that concept is really about knowing whatever we're going, we have to know what it is that sometimes we can't change. We have to be willing to accept what we can't change. Like, you know what? I mean, for example, loved ones will pass away. We
Mm-hmm.
can't do anything about that. So being able to accept what we can change. But then there are things in our life that can change, that we can be different and do different. But then that takes a certain amount of strength or courage to change those things that we can.
Mm.
And then finally, the last part of the serenity prayer, we need to have the wisdom to know the difference between accepting and finding the inner ego strength to produce change. But change is possible. I mean, let's be honest, life is challenging.
Yes.
There's just no way other life is just challenging. But maybe it was designed to be that way on purpose. Maybe because through the challenges, that's where we have opportunities to heal and grow.
Mm.
Like sometimes I've had these conversations with my students. Struggle is often necessary, if not part of the process.
Ooh.
And I give them an example of a baby chicken and egg. If you prematurely take that chick out that egg, it's probably going to die and it won't be able to walk. It'll be crippled. But because it's in there struggling, like it's trying to struggle to stand, it's trying to eventually peck its way out from inside the shell. It's
Mm.
strengthening its legs, its neck muscles. It's because of the struggle, it becomes strong enough to ultimately break through that eggshell.
Mm.
The struggle, muscles, like look at our body. Muscles don't grow, like you don't get stronger and bigger because you lift 1 pound weights, unless you're going to do it 3,000 times. The growth comes from straining the muscles, putting the muscles in uncomfortable situations.
Mm.
And so, but too often I feel like a lot of us, we want to avoid the struggle. We don't want that. We want something smoothly paved, but then you miss out on the possible growth that can come from that.
Yeah.
And that's and so I think sometimes, I do jujitsu, as I mentioned earlier, and one of the great things that art teaches you, it teaches you once you've been doing it long enough to try to be comfortable and don't panic in uncomfortable situations.
Mm.
Sometimes when I'm what's called rolling, when you're wrestling with somebody else, because jujitsu, there's a lot of ground fighting to it. There's
Mm.
sometimes when I'm rolling with somebody, I will start the match out by having them be in a superior position. I will have them be on top of me. That's how we're going to start
That's how
because
you start.
I want to start. I want to get used to being in this uncomfortable area so I don't panic, so I continue breathing properly and then figure out how do I get out of this. And so that I think so that's really important, knowing what we can change, finding the strength to accept, and then be able to accept the things we can and the wisdom to know the difference. So
Mm.
but everything presents an opportunity for healing and growing. Every situation, I mean, I'm not going to say every, but most situations allow opportunity for healing and growing.
Amen to that. How can people contact you, Frank?
Well, let's see. They can go to the book's website, which is ffrancisjones.com. F, and then it's FRANCIS Jones, JONES.com. That's the book website. It's got more information about me. I've got some merchandise. hoodies,
Oh,
t-shirts, coffee
all
mug.
right.
And
All right. All right.
what on the merch, I have certain sayings that I mention in the book that
Yeah.
for example, one of my favorite sayings, which you can get on the hoodie, is called, ego divides, spirit unites. Um, and so that's the merch. So that's ffrancisjones.com. And then on my Instagram is ffrancisjones, the number 4 healing. ffrancisjones, the number 4 healing. So they can reach out either one of those routes.
Okay. All right. Is your book on Amazon or no?
It is on Amazon. Yep, you can get the physical book. You can download it if you have the tablet. Yep, it's available. It's done pretty well. I mean, I have in my mind, I think I have one more book inside of me. So I've been taking notes on my phone for that book. I will probably, my plans is to start actually pulling it together later this year.
All
So I've
right.
just been taking notes. Ideas
All
come to me, and I just put them, because sometimes, if ideas come to you, you got to put them down while you can. Because
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
say I'll write it down later when I get up, you'd
You're
be
gonna
like,
forget.
what was it was really good too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
important,
It was
and I can't
right.
remember it. Oh, I've done that so many
Oh,
times. I was like, no,
oh.
if I'm in mid, like I told you, I meditate every day. If I'm
Mm.
in, sometimes I'll be in mid meditation, and out of nowhere, this thought, this message, this idea, this concept will occur to me. And I'll be like, I got to stop my meditation and put my phone on and put it in. Because there were times I'd be like, okay, I'll be in my meditation, I'll remember it, and I'll just write it down after I finish my meditation. I will finish my meditation and will be clueless.
Mm.
Clueless. So I will stop whatever I'm doing. I will be in a therapy session, and something, I will say something, or we will have something. I'll be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that's awesome. And because I will write, they don't know what I'm writing down, but I'm writing for my, like, I'm like, I got to write that down. That's powerful. Oh, I do it all the time. Virtual
This
session,
will be
in-person
an
session.
excellent cliff note.
This is, man, this is a great title. I never even thought about it like this. Like, I will say something. Ooh, did that come out of me? I need to
Yeah.
write that down
I need to
too.
write that down.
Man, that sounded good. It's coming out of my mouth.
And then after that, you'll never hear it again, or nothing close.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
Oh my goodness. Last question. How long did it take you to write your book?
It took, I want to say, about a year and a half. And part of the problem, I don't want to get too into this, but I did what's called hybrid publishing, where you find somebody I mean, they help get the book out, but you pay them up front to help you. But then all the proceeds, you get all the money, but you have to pay them a certain amount. And so the original company that I was with, uh, at the time, we were halfway in the process. They were doing some editing, and this company imploded.
Oh.
And this was a very well-established company that did a lot of bestsellers. I don't want to put them on blast right now, but they had to, and they were not cheap at all. And so they imploded. The founder was, who knows where he was. And so I then had to find a new company to help me finish my book. And so that delayed, that created a delay too. But I'm glad I found the co-publishers that I found, because they were, I wish I would have found them originally, because they were amazing.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. You had
Yeah.
to go through a little bit of pressure, a little bit of
Heal
drama
and
to get to where
grow.
you are.
I tell people, I tell my clients, and I even tell my students, instead of going through something, because we all go through stuff, maybe we should try growing through stuff. So to me,
now I have to write
now
that
you got to
down.
write something down.
Have to grow
Through
through some stuff.
That's it. And so even that experience with the book, I grew through that, and it just really just
Underlying
shaped
growth.
it
Yeah.
shaped my character. It just shaped my character. So
Yeah. Oh, Mr. Frank Jones, I really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me, sir. And man,
it's been my pleasure.
this was a great talk.
I
I thoroughly
enjoyed.
enjoyed our conversation, and
Great, as did I.
I know you said you were Chicago native, so
Yeah,
I'm going to ask what are your thoughts on the Bears this coming year?
I'll be honest with you. I'm always for the Bears. They should do well. They have an amazing new coach. He's been there a couple of years now.
Yeah, yeah,
Caleb Williams is a great young quarterback. But to be quite honest with you, I've been out of Chicago so long, living here in Atlanta. I think I've become more of a Atlanta Falcons fan than a Bears fan because I know more about the Falcons than I do
sure.
the Bears because I'm here.
You're there. Yeah.
I'm here, and so I support both teams.
Mm-hmm.
It bothers me when they play each other because I'm like, ooh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so torn.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I'm rooting stronger that the Falcons turn things around than the Bears are on a good track. The Falcons need
Oh, yeah.
they just hired a new coach, so they need some work.
Yeah, yeah. Falcons need some work, but they got some good weapons.
Oh, they get
They got
Bijan
some
Robinson. Yo, they
Bijan
ask
Robinson.
them
Yeah,
Drake London. They got some ballers.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no doubt, no doubt.
That tight end is fire too.
Yep, yep, yep,
That tight
yep.
end is fire. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You guys got some weapons down there, but you like you said, you just need some coaching to
need some
get
coaching.
the things back, where it needs to be.
Yep, and need to find
And
out who the quarterback is going to be as well. But yeah,
that
well,
part
I
too.
think it's going to be Tua. I think it's Tua, unless he gets hurt.
Oh, you guys got Tua.
We have Tua. He's going to be the starter because Penix, who was the starter, got hurt.
Yeah.
He had to have knee surgery, so
Ooh,
he's not going to. He's probably not going to be ready for the beginning of the season, and it's probably going to be Tua, formerly
Tua.
Miami. So we'll see what happens.
But yeah, you guys got to protect Tua because
He's he,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's prone
I'm
to
not gonna
concussions. He
yeah.
yeah, so
I'm not gonna speak in the ether, but yeah, Tua needs
yeah, and
protection.
I don't know him personally, but I like him as a
I like
person.
to, yeah,
I
yeah.
like him.
I
He,
like
he
Tua as a
seems like he
person. I
seems
like
like
him
a
as a
good
player.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just injury prone.
Yep. So
Brother Frank,
yes,
much
sir.
appreciate you, sir.
Same
And
here.
we got to keep in touch.
Please do.
You
Let's
got
do it.
my email, I got yours. Let's
Yep.
stay in touch. Talk a little trash during the NFL year.
Definitely. Sure will.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. I say this all the time, and I will continue to say it's okay to not be okay. Just do something about it. Brother Frank,
Yes, sir.
have a good one, sir. Ladies and
You do
gentlemen,
the
you
same.
guys
Take
have a good
care.
night. Stay in touch
Okay.
with me,
Thank
Frank.
you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bye-bye.